If you've ever whispered, Lord, I don't get it, then chances are you're in the right place. From late night chats in your dorm room to drives after a closing shift, we've all experienced doubts. And so today we're going to open up the floor, talking with Pastor Tim transparently about how to bring our honest questions to God and to save people. And then we'll try to kind of find a few simple practices, how to face those challenges head on. So welcome back to the Light and Life podcast. I'm your host, Liza, here with Pastor Tim.
Hey, everybody. It's good to see you again.
I'm so glad this is our topic today because I recently had a Bible study with some of my girl buddies. Yeah. I'm like, what do you call them? Gal besties, gal friends?
I don't call them, but yeah.
Okay. You know the kind.
I do.
And it was so encouraging in the weirdest way to hear what everyone else is doubting because you almost felt less alone in it. And some of those doubts, I think a synonym to them was lies. Like, what are lies that you believe about God? And if a few answers were, I don't actually believe that he wants what's best for me.
Yeah.
Or I think that following God means that I don't get to achieve my hopes and dreams, that I don't get to have it. Like they're they don't go together.
God is holding back on you.
Yeah. Like he's withholding all the good stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess, today we just wanted to talk about honest doubts and how to approach them. What was maybe the first honest doubt that you had after coming to faith?
Okay. Yeah. Well, I love that.
It's a big question.
Did you do your Bible study? It was on doubts or it was on lies? It was on live no lies?
No, it was actually on Romans.
On Romans, yeah.
I think, I don't even know how it came up. It was specifically Romans 3 and 4. But I can't remember where in the conversation we got down a rabbit hole as we do. And everyone named a specific lie. And they were all different, but all the same at the same time. And it's really just not trusting in who God says he is.
Yeah. The root of temptation from the very beginning in the creation narrative with Adam and Eve was the serpent saying to Eve, God's holding back on you. I mean, that's basically what the serpent tried to convince Eve of. He's given you all these trees, all this world, all this food, all this care, all this nurture, all this life, but he told you not to eat that one tree. I bet that's the best one, And God's holding out on you. He just doesn't want you to be your full potential. He doesn't want you to be, it makes him nervous that you would be as important as he is, or you would know knowledge of good and evil. And that's what seeps into the human mind of, I think God's holding out on me. I think God isn't giving me my best, is holding back. For some reason, God doesn't want to give me what's good. Yeah.
Have you ever faced that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think about first doubts. I know you gave me that question, and it's hard for me to remember that. I was so it all felt so new to me as a younger believer that everything felt like a wonderful discovery, and so that was not the season where I struggled with a lot of doubt. It was like a rush of joy that there is a God in heaven, like I always thought there was. He gave his son for me. That's amazing. I never thought of it that way. I knew Jesus loved the world, but I had no idea he loved me.
Yeah.
And so this personal relationship was just filling up my heart with all kinds of love and healing. And I think the doubts came a lot later. But I was grateful as they came. I remember hearing, I think it was a Lee Strobel talk, and or no, it was somebody else, but I can't remember his name. But he was talking about how doubt is not unfaithfulness. Doubt is fuel for faith. So doubt is not unfaithfulness. It's like, oh, I'm doubting. I guess I don't really believe in Jesus, or I guess this personal relationship. I guess I'm betraying this personal relationship with you, Jesus, because I'm having this kind of doubt. I'm wondering about this, and I really don't have confidence in it. And that was so important to me at that time to recognize that Jesus is not surprised by our doubts. He sees our doubts as fuel for deeper faith. And what's the problem with doubt is when you just stop there. So the great story is of doubting Thomas, right? Of Jesus has risen from the dead. Thomas missed it. Jesus showed up with the disciples. Thomas missed it. Thomas is finally there, and Jesus is there. And Thomas has said to all of his friends, I'm not going to believe this. I'm just not. Okay, unless I see the hands myself, unless I see the wounds, unless I put my hand inside the side where the spear went through, I'm not going to believe you guys. I'm not going to buy it. And Jesus came, and he said, see my hands and my side. Come, put your finger here. Stop doubting, start believing, was what Jesus said to Thomas. And it never actually says that Thomas did that. Like I was looking at this.
That he started believing?
That he touched the wounds.
Oh, okay.
It never actually says that he did. What it says is that Jesus told him, stop doubting, start believing. And Thomas said, my Lord and my God, which was, he started believing. I mean, but Jesus saw Thomas's halting not as like a barrier to their relationship, but as an opportunity to go deeper. And when we have doubts that we allow to sort of settle in as a barrier to our relationship or something that's just going to be a wedge, that's where doubt does damage. But doubt should be just fuel to grow deeper with Christ. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about how to do that.
Yeah, I think God does meet us inside of those doubts.
Yeah.
I think one of the doubts that I have is that I'm being punished.
Huh.
In ways, or like if I'm being tested, I think it's a punishment for a previous sin, and I'm not really living in like his love and his kindness. I'm living in like fear of him.
Yeah. So God is not believing that God is good.
Yeah.
And loving. Mm-hmm. Was that how you would say it?
Yeah. Well, and it's like I've said this a lot on this podcast, but the difference between what I know and what I feel is vast.
Yeah.
I know God is loving.
Yeah.
In those times, I don't feel it, and I'm not able to pinpoint that in the moment. I'm not like in the moment. I would never be like, God doesn't love me, because I know He does. It's just my doubts kind of prove that might be something that I'm believing in the moment.
Yeah.
Am I making sense?
You are. Yeah. Yeah. My counselor says you've got to distinguish between what is real and what you feel, and which I like that. But because you're going to feel things, and you need to sort of process that and think about what's real as you're feeling these things. But yeah, doubt can enter in when we're not feeling the affection of God. There's seasons in life where you feel the affection of God. I mean, just like a romantic relationship, there's moments where you're just feeling the warmth of affection. And then there's seasons where God I describe one season as it's as if Jesus took me to the edge of a swamp and said, I'm going to meet you over there, and then disappeared. And it was I just had to keep going, like through the swamp, and until I met up with him again. And I was like, is this love? Like, what is going on here? And it was Jesus leading me through things that I needed to go through, and were going to shape me and shape my ministry and all of that. And but there's these moments where Jesus it's like the parent who's holding your hand when you're a toddler and you're taking steps, and I can take all kinds of steps because I'm holding on, and then the parent kind of lets go. And there's seasons of our spiritual life that are like that. God just kind of lets go, and those are seasons of growth, but they're really confusing because you're kind of like gripping up to the sky and there's nothing there. It's like, wait, where's this confidence, this assurance, this affection? And it's intentionally removed by God so that you'll grow. But it's not a lack of love that He's doing that. That He's doing that for. The Great Lights would call that what did John of the Cross call it? It's this It's not a season of discontent. It's a dark night of the soul. And it's a universal Christian experience. The dark night of the soul.
It sounds so daunting.
I know.
I'm scared.
This sounds like a Batman sequel.
Yeah, it does. It does. Or like a horror film.
Like a horror film. Like, what? And God's going to bring me through that for the sake of maturity, for the sake of shaping us into the likeness of Christ, for the sake of deeper relationship. God's going to bring you through that. But sure, I've had seasons of doubts too. There's things that will come along and cause me to experience doubt and to wrestle through doubt.
Well, where has God met you inside of doubt, not just after the issue's already solved, or not just in retrospect? I think that's my issues. I always see God in retrospect, never in the moment.
Yeah.
I don't know, and you might not have a specific example that comes to mind of him meeting you inside that doubt, but what might be ways to identify when he is meeting us in those doubts?
That's a really good question. How Jesus shows up in those doubt moments. Mm-hmm. Let's just say, because I've been thinking about this with your prompts. Where do I have doubt? Like, this would be hot take, right?
Yeah.
Where are the places where I experience doubt? I think the place, Liza, where I wrestle with doubt the most and have to go do deep thinking, deep learning, and prayer right now is in that area of sexuality. Is God right? Like, does God want all of our good? Does God see the range of human experience and love and care for everybody? And yet God puts forward this gift of sexuality as something that he has ordained within a monogamous relationship between one man and one woman.
Right.
And all other forms of sexuality, Scripture considers, the Greek term is porneia, or adultery, or frankly, like idolatry. If you go through the Old Testament, a lot of, again and again, the examples are of the people being unfaithful with idols. And God, the Spirit, in the Scriptures, through the prophets, calls that infidelity and relates it to adultery, because it's love and affection and devotion that's outside the bounds of proper relationship and covenantal relationship. But that's where I wrestle with doubt. You just step back and think, God, is this really it? Uh-huh. And so what do you do with that? With that doubt, or even the question of, is the way God set up human sexuality for our good? And is it possible to live in the way that God set up human sexuality? Maybe you weren't ready to go down this road.
No, I'm here for it.
But that's an area where, sure, you step back time and time again and say, Lord, are we sure? Are you sure? Mm-hmm. And am I sure? Can I believe this?
Yeah.
And that's a moment that can make you sort of look at the whole thing. Like, what is this whole thing? Maybe this whole deal is ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, that topic is so hard because I think, like, yes, it's laid out in Scripture, but our brain is like, why? Because, I have so many friends who, have same-sex attraction, or,
right.
And they don't understand why they can't love someone the way that I would be able to, and that's hard. That's so hard. Like, I wrestle with God with that often, but I also know
right.
what the Scripture says. So it's just like, I want to have faith, and I want to believe without seeing, but sometimes I feel like I'm just going in blind all the time, and just I don't know. I want to have more strength.
Right.
I believe.
So you start to doubt, and of course that one is just waves and waves of culture. The culture that we're in that has, since the sexual revolution, has really equated sexuality and identity, sexual persuasion and personhood to the point where it's a human rights issue. I mean, it's literally a human rights issue to be free to express your sexuality according to your personal preferences and things like that. And so we've got waves of this coming in, but also just more personally, it's Lord, are you leading me? Is this a way that you're leading me into greater life? Is it possible to live in the sexual ethic that you've presented? What is this really for? And those are areas where I've just at times had to just go deeper and deeper with the Lord, and so in your best case, that is fuel. In your best case, that becomes impetus to say, you know what, I'm going to take time and study deeper, and I'm not going to fear any questions. I'm going to raise questions, and I'm going to go and pursue answers. And I'm going to pursue answers in the scriptures, in books that I can trust, and I'll read other books too. Like I'll read perspectives, and in counsel with elders and community. And then I'm going to sort of wait and see, am I just going to stay in the swamp, or is something going to start to emerge? But I'll tell you, doubt is an area that the opposing spiritual forces want to use to bring shame to your life and to bring distance from God, to just bring distance from God and to stop your growth. And so it's important to us when we experience doubt as Christians to say, wait a minute, this does not exclude me from a relationship with God. This is fuel for more faith.
Yeah.
And I need to go after this doubt. I don't need to run away from it. I need to take it on head on and go and try to give myself like a pattern. Have you done some of that? Have you ever had to kind of go at a question?
Yes. Mainly because sometimes I'd be asked questions and I didn't have an answer for why I believed what I believed. Because I'm such a emotional person that, when I came to faith, it was a very emotional experience. It was a very, this is how I feel in this moment.
Yeah.
Whereas I have friends who came to faith through logic. And I think that is so fascinating because the logical side of my brain sometimes can't get there. I'm like, born of a virgin, walked on water, all of these things.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, all these people were willing to die for this cause. I try to reason with myself because my emotions are like, yes, of course, Jesus is real. I know it, I feel it, I've seen him, I've experienced him.
Right.
Which is true. But when people ask me questions, it's like, how do I convey that fully? How do I say, it's an overflow of joy in my heart for what he's done. How do I convey that to a person when they're asking me these challenging questions? And I don't know how to defend them. So that's when I've gone in and I've searched and I've tried to find people's arguments that disprove the existence of God. And I've never found anything that's compelling because I've tried to be as middle ground as I possibly can.
Objective.
It's everything has pointed to God for me, and I'm fortunate. But I think about people that like Thomas, for example. I'm so blessed to not be in that situation because I know I would be doubting from a reason standpoint if I didn't have this gushy-gushy feeling building up in my heart.
Yeah.
Because that's what drives a lot of...
I'm nerdy enough I love going down the rational track of miracles too. It's did you know that if all the molecules, there's more air and space in between the matter of your molecules than there is matter, and so walking through a door is actually perfectly possible. It's
well, see, that stuff is so fascinating.
Totally
to
not
me,
the point, but
not how I get there.
Yeah.
But there's people that have gotten to faith from that, and I learned so much, and I'm so inspired by it. The doubts have come, I think, more so when people ask me questions, and then I'm like, God, am I even equipped to answer these questions? Am I being... And then they make me think. I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe my faith is a bunch of bogus But
and how does that become motivation for you to learn more?
well, one, I like being right.
Okay.
If I'm so honest, my pride is.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna like, because there's part of like it's like
no, I'm right, and I'm going to prove you wrong.
I don't want to be embarrassed again.
Yeah, I'm going to prove you wrong, but I can't.
And I'm going to prove you wrong.
I can't prove it.
Yeah, and
I think that's some of the beauty of it is like I do believe without seeing, but I want to be able to have proof. I mean, there's of course miracles that can't be explained by science, that can't be explained by the everyday human. That's, something to ponder, at least a greater being, at least. But I, Liza, can't physically prove the existence of God, but the fact that I choose to still believe, I think, fuels my faith. Because it's like, I don't know, I've always said this, and you pointed to this earlier, that doubt's actually a beautiful thing, because if we're just blindly following without doubt, then what is faith?
And if you come across, so you got your own doubt that can become fuel. Mm-hmm. If we look at it properly, if we submit it to the Lord in the right ways, your friends' doubts can also become that fuel.
Yeah.
So if you look at somebody bringing you something and you feel a little embarrassed, I don't have the answer, there is this sort of motivation, like, I don't want to feel like that again. Like, I don't want to get caught, So I want to learn more so I can defend the faith. But there's also just this beautiful thing that happens when we can say to our friends, our neighbors, I can totally see why you feel that way and why you're thinking that way, and see it as a legitimate doubt that could be fuel for faith for them. Mm-hmm. And you want to sort of see what kind of little pens might I be able to pull on that helps the ball to roll forward. Mm-hmm. Like, what rope can I pull that help? Do you know that like Survivor game where the disc is going around and pulling the ball across?
Yes.
Okay,
so frustrating to watch when people aren't getting it.
What rope can I pull? What can I help to dislodge? And then their doubt becomes fuel for your faith too, and your learning. And
right.
But when you see it that way, it's neighbor love to help someone and want to be engaged in their doubts. But it really starts with saying, that's a great doubt. That is a really good doubt.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that could be fuel for faith.
Well, so I guess that leads me to my next question, which is, how would we walk with someone when doubts are tangled with grief or church hurt? Church hurt's a big one. There's a lot of people that...
I mean, I know it is, but...
Well, yes.
I
think my generation, or just people in my sphere of influence who... want to prove me wrong or aren't open to hearing about the Lord and what He's done. A lot of times it's tied with grief. And I think, one of the things that I say is like, there's nothing really holding me to faith other than I know it to be true.
Yeah. There's certain things that just, you never, there are certain things that are just so true, they're true.
It's like, what's holding me to this? Why am I going down this?
It's like John 9. It's like the guy that was blind in John 9, and he's healed by Jesus, and he's brought before the Sanhedrin. He's really snappy. Like, he's really snarky with them, right? And he's like, are you trying to become Christians? Like, it's a great dialogue. But it comes down to the fact that they're like, well, tell me how this all worked, and tell me how he did that, and how does he heal you, and are you forgiven of sins, and what's going on? And like, I don't know. I can tell you this. I was blind. Now I can see. Like, that's the true of the true. Uh-huh. And I can't figure out everything else. And so we've all got those convictional truths. Like, God is there. Jesus Christ has died on the cross. And I think it is important to have some of those and to study some of those. I remember getting hit with, Jesus, they didn't have a lot of medical, equipment back then, like maybe
Dabble tissue.
Yeah.
Can you imagine him
sitting
down with people?
Nobody checked his brain waves,
right.
Maybe he had a really bad time on the cross and he passed out, and they laid him in the nice cool tomb, and it took a couple days for him to wake up, but he got better. And he got up out of the cross. There are different theories of that the resurrection was a hoax. And like, it's important to go study those things. Like what's being represented, what's even represented from outside of the gospel context about this event.
Yeah.
And to sort of go down this road and say, oh, okay, like I don't think I could really reasonably hold that Jesus swooned on the cross from Roman crucifixion and then woke up 3 days later, because there's so many parts of that just will not work.
Yeah.
And they just don't work with the body of evidence. And so sometimes you need to do some of those things just to dislodge what has become kind of a wedge of doubt.
Well, even like historical evidence, like people are so quick to believe that Julius Caesar existed.
Right.
but
yeah,
not that Jesus did. Right. And if Jesus did exist, how can you prove that he was the Son of God? Well, it's like you can absolutely prove that Jesus existed because there's more historical records of that than any historical figure.
Right. So is it worth it doing those things? Absolutely, it is. Mm-hmm. Is that? Are you gonna argue somebody into saving faith in Jesus Christ? No. Mm-hmm. Like there's that trust factor, that leap of faith factor that's always there. Yeah. Of deciding, I am going to believe, I am going to trust, stop doubting, start believing. That's always going to be there. There's always that leap of faith. But you can make it a lot shorter of a jump by helping them to understand this is not irrational. Yeah. It is faith, but it is not an unreasonable faith. Yeah. And you've got faith in other things that's not unreasonable faith. And so this is a faith that needs to be exercised on a reasonable basis. But it's not a blind leap into the pitch black darkness. There's a lot here.
Yeah. And I think just what you said, bringing doubts out of darkness is a great way to walk in community with one another. Mm-hmm. So I think that's actually a really great place to stop and give kind of a closing challenge. One would be name, call out one of your doubts, one of your questions to God. Write it out, say it out loud, and name it. And then the next would be to kneel it into prayer with Mark chapter 9, verse 24. I do believe, help me overcome my unbelief.
Yep.
Pray it on a walk. Pray it on a drive. Just even on your block. It's a beautiful thing to say. And then, neighbor it. Share it. Share your question with a trusted friend or a small group. And just ask them to sit with you in it. You don't have to ask them to disprove your doubt. Mm-hmm. You just need them to understand that that's what you're going through. And sometimes that's the most effective way. So, we'll keep saying it here. Bring your whole self, faith, and your questions. And, we're in this together. Thank you guys so much for joining in. It's been a pleasure to meet with you guys.
Good conversation. Thanks, Liza.